Okay, today we're discussing anaphora in class, and this is day 3. If you've missed day 3 of the packet, this is the video to watch, and I'm about to begin the teaching. Okay, today we are going to begin on page 17. We're going to talk about anaphora. And you know anaphora. We've been seeing anaphora in a lot of the things that we've read this year. It's a tool that many writers use, but I like to think that Martin Luther King is the king of anaphora. He really knows how to implement it well in his writing and how to deliver it well in his speeches. And so today we're going to look at how Dr. King uses anaphora to really enhance his speech. Now let's do this for just a moment. It is a speech, so it's something that people are receiving through their ears, auditorily, okay? They're not watching like a teleprompter and reading it. They don't have a transcript in their hands. They're receiving this by standing in Washington, D.C. on a hot August day and listening for 20 solid minutes. And they've already listened before to, another speaker and a choir sing and a prayer. So they've been out there a while. So anything he can do to help entice the ear to listen is helpful. Anything that he can do to kind of inspire them to listen, to get them interested in his wording, helps them understand what he's trying to say. So today we're going to look at anaphora. I'd like you to copy down the definition off the board right now. Here's the definition of anaphora. It's the repetition of the same words at the beginning of successive clauses. Okay, we're going to look at some examples of this in just a moment. Of repeated clauses is I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. You heard it when we listened to the speech. We'll talk about that one in just a few moments, okay? Circle number 20 and 21. Circle number 20 and 21. And the reason why I'm having you do those yourself is because I think they're a little more accessible and more easily understood than number 22. I'm going to talk about number 22 with you. So skip down to number 22. Let's look at it. This successive use of anaphora at the end of the speech is really powerful. I'm going to read the passage, okay? Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, now that's an interesting part there. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. It's interesting that he uses the words let freedom ring repeatedly. That's really what you want to look at in anaphora, is what words is he choosing to repeat. Why let freedom ring? Have you ever heard those words before?
Yes.
Where have you heard them?
In America the Beautiful.
America the Beautiful. It's a song, and it's let freedom ring. I don't know how. There you go. My country, 'tis of thee is how it begins, and that's one of the main lines in the song. So everyone in America knew it. So the fact that he's using it repeatedly, they're thinking, oh my gosh, it is America the Beautiful. But it's not so beautiful, right? Freedom needs to be able to ring all across America. So every time he mentions let freedom ring in the speech, he's accentuating a different place. So it's not only important the words that are repeated, let freedom ring, but maybe the stem after it as well. And the fact that he gives how many stems of let freedom ring, who can count them for me very quickly right now? How many let freedom rings are there? 7 at least?
7.
Okay, 7 at least. It really makes it stand out. And that's what anaphora does. And I back in the back of the room, I have a hammer next to repetition and anaphora. Have y'all ever noticed that? Represents repetition and anaphora because I kind of symbolically think it's hammering home a point. Okay, and the point he's hammering home is that freedom needs to ring everywhere. So let's look at the stems to really kind of understand He wants it to ring in New York. Do you think there's as many racial problems in New York as Mississippi? No, but is there as much poverty? Maybe for black people. Honestly, I don't think there were a lot of rich black people in the 1960s. I think nowadays we have a more fair and balanced spread of our economic wealth, but maybe not exactly equal, okay? So let's look. And how about the Alleghenies of Pennsylvania? Is that maybe as racist as Georgia? No. Okay, let freedom ring in the Rockies of Colorado. Well, those are some beautiful mountains that everywhere he's mentioned so far, there really are mountains. And so he's kind of going across, like in the song, it talks in the song, America the Beautiful, mentions a bunch of really beautiful places. So he's kind of going along with the song right now. Okay, and then the slopes, the curvaceous slopes of California. But now look at this. This line is interesting. Could you underline it for me? I think it's really interesting. But not only that. I think now he's really going to make his point. Look at this. Let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. That is actually a mountain in Georgia. But Georgia, let freedom ring there. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Tennessee, another state that had some racial tension, okay? And let freedom ring. Now look at this last one. Every hill and molehill of Mississippi. Now he's using alliteration, right? Molehill of Mississippi, that M sound, which makes it stand out, which is great for speeches. But why, isn't it kind of exaggerating a bit that it even needs to ring from a molehill in Mississippi? Does anyone know what a molehill is? That's where little moles live. So someone show me how high a molehill is. I mean, if their desk is the ground, how high is it off the ground? Maybe that much, maybe even shorter. But what's his point? Ned, tell me, what's his point if he says it even needs to ring from a molehill in Mississippi? You don't know? Does someone know? Yeah, go ahead, Mia.
That Mississippi is so segregated that like everyone needs to be free.
Everyone needs to be free, and even the molehills need to be a place where it should ring. Okay, so I think he's kind of stressing a point there that even in Mississippi off the molehills, they need freedom to ring. Here's my example answer. Number 22. King uses the repeated words, let freedom ring, to accentuate the fact that freedom should ring across America, even in the southern states where racism and segregation drown out the sound of the promised freedom our forefathers guaranteed in the Declaration of Independence. Okay, sure. So and really discuss on number 20 and 21 the words that are repeated plus the stems, like what are the stems kind of conveying? And so on number 20, why is the I have a dream part accentuated, and what is his dream? And then on number 21, King uses the repeated words, we can never be satisfied. And you need to really talk about why they can't be satisfied, and he repeats it numerous times in his speech. So you're going to do 20 and 21 on your own. Okay, I need you to now turn to page 18 in your turn to page 18, and let's get the definitions down for figures of speech. Okay, and in this particular text, we're only going to look at metaphor, extended metaphors, and similes. Okay, we know that a figure of speech is a comparison. Okay, a metaphor is a comparison that doesn't use like or as. An extended metaphor is that comparison kind of continues through a series of sentences in the paragraph or the poem, and then the simile is kind of the baby cousin that has to use like or as to compare. We've gone over these so much this year, but this is just a reminder of what we'll be looking at, okay? I mentioned before, you know these terms really well. All of these terms are going to be on the rhetoric exam, all the ones in the packet. So, you know the ones we've gone over in the last couple of days. We started with illusion, and then we added anaphora, and then we added today, you know, the figures of speech, metaphor, extended metaphor, and simile. Yes, Ned? I want you to get out 2 color highlighters and turn to page 8 in your packet, because we're going to look at the I Have a Dream speech text, and we're going to be looking for metaphors today. We're going to be looking at metaphors and extended metaphors. Okay, so we're going to do that in just a moment as soon as everybody gets out your highlighters. Okay, now I'm going to read the metaphors I've already kind of highlighted for you as an example, and then I want you to go ahead and highlight them too. Now, here's what we're doing. Listen very carefully. We are not just haphazardly using these colors. I'm going to read, and when I come across a metaphor, I'm going to highlight it. And the next metaphor I come across If it has something to do thematically with the metaphor I just read before it, I'm going to highlight it in the same color. But if it changes like metaphor, it's a different kind of theme altogether. It's not really the same line of metaphor. It's not an extended metaphor. I'm going to change colors, okay? So if it's the same theme, I'll keep the same color. If it's a different theme, I'll change colors. So let's do this. And it reads, I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in our history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope. There's a metaphor. He's comparing the Emancipation Proclamation, the decree, to a beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. Now, is searing someone and burning someone connected to beacon light of hope? Is it in the same thing? I need someone to say no.
No.
Okay, no, it's not. So do you see that I changed colors? Okay, now let's find the next metaphor. It came as a joyous daybreak. Now, is that the same theme as searing flames of withering injustice? No. So I changed colors. Joyous daybreak to the end of the long night of their captivity. Now, I kept joyous daybreak and long night of captivity in the same color. Does it kind of thematically go together? Yeah, because it's day and night. It's kind of in that same realm, so I kept the same color. Do you see what I'm doing? Okay, let's keep going. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. Now, I used all of those. I used orange for all of those because they're crippled because they're chained with manacles around their ankles. And the chains are holding the manacles together, and so it makes them, they're bound together. Okay, so let's see the next one. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. You can see the similarity there, the same theme. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself an exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize its shameful condition. The next part is pretty powerful. And notice this paragraph is all in orange, okay? And you can kind of see the words that are highlighted. To cash a check, promissory note, to fall heir. America has defaulted on this promissory note. A bad check, insufficient funds. Bank of Justice is bankrupt. Insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity. Come to cash this check, and so forth. Understand the directions. Do you understand that I'm asking you to find all the metaphors in the whole speech, and I want you to keep the same color if there's a theme going, if there's an extended metaphor and there's kind of a connection between the metaphors. If not, switch colors. Do you understand your job? That's your job today. That's part of your homework. Do it right now. Go. And then when you're done, you can go back and you can answer number 20 and 21 or any others that you didn't previously do as homework like you were supposed to, okay? Because you have until 9:40 to finish this today. If you can finish it all in class, terrific. If not, you have a little bit of homework. Yes, ma'am. You highlight everything I did. And then you continue the entire speech highlighting back and forth colors anytime the kind of the metaphor changes. Okay? All right. Good.